Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I am so happy that you have tuned in today. This is the Wishing You Well podcast, and I'm health coach Maria Patrick, your host and wellness guide. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. And if you're new, I'm so happy that you're here and that you've decided to join us. This is a weekly dose of healthy living ideas and inspiration. I'm a holistic health coach and a certified Qigong instructor. And my goal, whether you are working with me in person or over Zoom or just hearing my voice through this podcast, is to help you to naturally heal your body using nutrition, movement, and lifestyle changes. My passion is to help you to live your best, longest, healthiest, and most wonderful life. If you're a regular listener, then you know that I'm always on the lookout for the latest health information, studies, and stories to assist us on our health journey. This week, I'm coming to you from a yoga retreat center in Western Massachusetts. I'm here on a week-long immersion in Qigong, which I've been teaching for the past 7 years. I started out in person, then switched online to Zoom, and now, after being on Zoom for 4 long years in this post-pandemic world, I'm finally and thankfully back to teaching in person as well. I think that there are so many benefits to taking a retreat. And for me, especially, there were so many benefits because it was a learning retreat. For the most part, on retreat, I have been cut off from the outside world. There are no televisions or radios anywhere. The internet connection is somewhat sketchy. Cell phone use is prohibited in the public spaces. And silence is strongly encouraged, particularly during the first meal of the day, breakfast. Now, for a chatty talker like myself, asking me to be silent during a meal with my friends is a challenge. I am grateful to be here in this beautiful space. I'm surrounded by nature, immersed in meditation and yoga and Qigong and healthy meals. And I am truly blessed that I got to share this experience with several of my friends and colleagues. I love and admire these women so much, and we have a great deal to talk about. We generally share ideas about the Qigong routines we teach our students. We talk about the ways in which we want to grow our businesses, and we cook up plans to potentially collaborate with each other on future projects. I am not someone who is uncomfortable with silence. I cherish the time that my husband and I quietly sit next to each other, holding hands, or a silent walk around my neighborhood with one of my sons. My backyard swimming pool, I always say this, is my sanctuary. Because for me, it's the perfect way to unplug. It's like a digital detox. There's no phone, there's no laptop, there's no television, just the sounds of the water and the birds and the wind rustling through the leaves of the trees and the occasional plane or helicopter flying overhead or my neighbor's lawnmower. The reason that the silent breakfasts have been so hard for me is because I haven't spent time in person with these women in over 5 years, and I truly don't know when we'll be able to do it again. Our time together has been limited, and I've wanted to soak up every precious moment of it. Over breakfast, I wanted to compare notes about the delicious gluten-free sweet potato pancakes and the homemade blueberry sauce we were eating. I wanted to ask them how they slept the night before. It would have been great to use that time to map out our strategy for the day. But we were relegated to complete and absolute silence. I know that there are many benefits to this, and we're going to cover those in a few minutes. But for me, it was a challenge, and I had no choice but to accept it. As they say, you get what you get, and you don't get upset. The silent meal approach made me think of a story that was recently in the news. It's been a debate for years. Should phones be banned from schools? How should teachers regulate texting and using cell phones during the school day? The Debate goes back and forth, the question on whether the schools should completely outright ban the phones, since having a cell phone presents so many distractions to the students, or having some kind of modified policy where they're only allowed to use it during certain times of the day, certain places in the school. It raised a lot of concerns and questions, like what would the students do if they needed to contact their parents during emergencies? How could the parents reach their kids and coordinate about pickup times and locations? Recently, the governor of the state of Ohio took a big stand by signing a cell phone bill into law that requires Ohio school administrators to publish a very specific and clear district-wide cell phone usage policy. His name is Mike DeWine. Governor DeWine wants the school administrators and teachers to reduce the distractions that are caused by using your phone for texting, gaming, and social media, in addition to phone calls themselves. Not only when the students are in the classroom, but during the entire school day. Governor DeWine was quoted as saying, and I'm going to read this to you, his quote, because it's very interesting. Our school children currently face countless distractions every day from the devices in their pockets. By limiting these distractions, we will reestablish the opportunity for students across Ohio to immerse themselves in their classwork, learn from their teachers, and create lifelong memories with their closest friends. Not only is this time precious for the educational development of our children, but we also have a responsibility to safeguard our kids from the nonstop barrage of alerts from the internet and social media that have proven to be damaging to their mental health. The legislation passed both houses of the Ohio legislature unanimously, and the result of the legislation is that it is now required by the state to strictly limit the cell phone use in the classroom unless the phones are being used by a teacher for instruction. Are you wondering how this could possibly even work? Each individual school district will have to create their own cell phone usage policy and try to come up with how it's going to work best in their own schools and for their own students. But the legislation makes it very clear. The bottom line, the core mission: screen time must be minimized during school time. The school districts have until sometime next year, I think it's July of 2025, to adopt the new cell phone policies. And the good news is, in case you were wondering, there are exceptions in the bill for students who have health conditions. They will be allowed to keep their cell phones if they're using them to monitor a health condition. And I could think of one such situation where you have to monitor your blood sugar throughout the day using an app on your phone. One particular school in Ohio was featured in the news. You may have seen them like I did on the Today Show when the story broke, because they had actually implemented a no phone policy several months earlier. And they were met with a ton of resistance from the students, from the parents. They got it on both sides. The students felt as if they were losing a limb, a lifeline, a connection to everything and everyone who mattered to them. The parents were concerned, like I said earlier, that they would not be able to figure out where, when, and how they were going to connect with their students for pickup after the school at the end of the day, and about being able to reach them in case of an emergency. No matter the resistance, the school would not acquiesce to the complaints. They went ahead and implemented the no cell phones during the school day policy, and the students had to turn their phones in at the beginning of the school day at the entrance to the school. It was very low tech. They put their phone in a manila envelope with their name on it, where it remained all day until the last school bell. The students who were interviewed for the coverage of the story had a lot to say about this policy, and perhaps you'll be as surprised as I was to hear what they said. They were grateful. They were happy. The no phones during the school day policy had changed their life for the better. They said their focus increased, their grades improved, and they were less stressed. Not the least part of which was because they weren't being pinged all day by their parents via text. The school's administration reported that bullying went down a whopping reported 40% during the months of no phones. And the parents somehow figured out how to pick up their kids without having the ability to text them. The most amazing result of all of this was that the sound of silence went away. The school's no cell phones during the day policy had the opposite effect that my retreat's silent breakfast has had on me. Instead of the school cafeteria being eerily silent during the meal times of breakfast and lunch because everyone had formerly been scrolling on their phones, they were actually talking to each other now. The cafeteria became engaged with the chatter and the laughter and the voices of the students communicating with one another. The school administration was so pleasantly surprised and pleased that they committed funds to buy board games for the students and card games, and they filled the cafeteria with them. So the students who used to spend their entire lunch period mindlessly scrolling Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook were now playing Uno and Scrabble and Crazy Eights and Gin Rummy. There was laughter and loud voices and interesting conversations happening throughout the lunchroom. Now that's my kind of meal environment. So what say you? Do you prefer a silent meal or one filled with conversation and laughter? Even though I'm still wishing I could ask my friend Suzanne over breakfast what she thinks of the French toast and if she prefers the strawberry or the blueberry sauce. And I really wanted to ask my friend Joyce what she and her husband George make for breakfast at their home in New Hampshire. When it comes to the health benefits of the sound of silence, I can and will embrace that. But I can make a case for both sides of the issue. Let's start with why eating in silence can lead you to feeling more balanced and less stressed, and help you to then bring those fundamental principles into your life on a regular basis. When you eat in silence, it becomes a very mindful experience. When you don't have the sounds around you to distract the other senses that are involved in eating, as well as to distract you from the actual act of eating, you will experience the smell, the taste, the feel, the texture of your food, and your brain, because it doesn't have those additional distractions, will be able to regulate how much you eat. We live in such a fast-paced world. We generally are eating on autopilot. We're often in a hurry. We've just come from someplace. We've got someplace else we need to be. We may be distracted by the news that's on in the background or the coming in and out of our family members. We end up eating so fast that we don't even take the time to properly chew our food, which can lead to digestive distress. I took a special digestive health course when I was in health coaching school, and it was one of the first things that they emphasized, how important it is to slow down, take time, thoroughly and properly chew your food. How about this? If you're like me and you're the one who prepares the food, has there ever been a time where you spent so much time, effort planning the meal, purchasing the ingredients for the meal, cooking the food, serving the food, only to have everybody scarf it down so quickly you watch it disappear in mere moments? There's certainly not a direct correlation between prep time and eating time. Sometimes we get involved in conversations during our meals that are stressful, and it makes it difficult to properly swallow the food. No wonder the experts say not to discuss politics or religion at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Have you ever had a full plate of food in front of you and you're distracted while you're eating it, and a few minutes later you realize the plate is empty? Did you even taste any of the food in between your bites? We might be vaguely aware in a situation like that whether the food was hot or cold or spicy or sweet, but we generally were so distracted we didn't give it any attention. Enter any restaurant or observe any meal being had elsewhere outside the home, and you're bound to see people who are reaching for their smartphones, scrolling through their news feeds or their social media, and they seemingly are unaware of their present surroundings. What mindful eating promotes is not only a connection with your food, but a reconnection with yourself, the extracting the outside influences. Rather than focusing on those outside distractions, you'll have the benefits of mindful eating, which experts say will increase your satisfaction and your satiety with the food and decrease your stress. When we practice mindful eating, eating in silence without any distraction, it's a wonderful way to tune out the rest of the world and focus on the present moment. It can make you forget your troubles, your stresses, even if only for a moment. You'll find yourself relishing the sumptuous aromas and flavors of your food and evoking all 5 of your senses, which that in and of itself will instantly make you more focused, calm, and ready to tackle the rest of your day. By simply paying attention to what you eat, you may be astounded at how much less food you mindlessly consume. We're all guilty of it. We sit down in front of a television show or a movie with a snack, and we think we're just going to have a few pretzels or a handful of chips or one cookie, and the next thing you know, it's more than just one small portion. The entire package is gone. You don't get the same emotional satisfaction from your food if you're not really tasting it. And you will miss your body's cues that it's full. Your body actually tells you when it's had enough. And we may actually be out of tune with what our body actually needs, how much it needs, and the foods that resonate the best with us. Our bodies will let us know whether something we're eating doesn't agree with us. When you become consciously aware of what you're eating, especially when you're doing that by eating alone in silence, you will find yourself listening to your body more. And hopefully this will translate to meaning that we're going to go for healthier options or stop eating when we're full. Okay, what about the benefits of sharing a meal with your family and friends and filling the time with conversation? That conversation could be as nourishing as your food. Perhaps in your world, family meals are reserved just for special occasions like reunions or holidays. Everyone's very busy, so as you balance your schedules, it can become very difficult to plan consistent meals with your family and friends. However, when you set aside time to spend with the people whom you care about and share a meal together, it may be something that's so important and life-changing, and it will increase not only the quality of your life, but the quantity of your life, that I believe this is something that is worth adjusting your schedule for. According to research, eating meals with others gives you physical health benefits by promoting better dietary habits and food choices. The experts say that when you eat with your friends and family, you're more likely to eat fruits and vegetables and make better food choices because you see the people you're with making those choices, or because you're with others who care about you and your health and they're watching what you eat. The time you spend together talking during a meal becomes a shared experience. It's bonding time, it's quality time together, and all of that directly impacts your health and wellness in a positive way. Experts say that eating with others has the power to fight significant health issues such as obesity and malnutrition because you're less likely to overeat and undereat. However, the positive impact that a shared meal experience has on you extends beyond the physical. It's a chance to make memories and create traditions and build a safe space and place for discussions. Shared meals with the people that you care about offers you the opportunity to emotionally invest in one another. You're creating a situation of fellowship, rapport, and trust. During mealtime, as I said earlier, what I was wishing for this week with my friends, you take the time to converse and check in with each other. The mental and emotional impact of this will deepen your connection with others, and those bonds can be life-changing. We know that the people who live in the blue zone regions of the world live longer, and the scientists who have researched this phenomenon attribute their longevity in very large part to the fact that their meals are experiences. They eat slowly over a long period of time, surrounded by the people they know and love. And in addition to making healthier food choices, they share their ideas, their thoughts, and their memories, all built by their conversation over the meal. At Columbia University, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse researched the concept of the family meal, and they concluded that bringing people together around the dinner table and increasing the frequency and quality of family meals increases the chances of parents raising drug-free, healthy kids, and it can also decrease household stress. The mealtime becomes a check-in time. Time spent together during meals allows us to build stronger relationships with each other so that we can stay connected, on track, and create support systems that can make a well-meaning, healthy life for everyone sitting around the table. A meal shared with loved ones, which includes food and conversation, has physical, mental, and emotional benefits. It's not only an investment in what you are eating. You are getting nourished by the shared experience and that conversation. And though that shared time becomes an investment in your family, in your community, and in your health. What's the takeaway here? I think that, like everything in life, balance is what we should strive for. There is a time for silence and a time to converse. There are the benefits of mindfulness and stress reduction that come with silent meals, and there is a lot to be said about gathering together and using the mealtime to share so much more than just food. Upon my re-entry post-retreat back into my normal routine, I'm going to make a concerted effort to do both, to continue to live a balanced life that has both silent meals and those with my loved ones surrounding me at the table. I hope that you too will make time and space for both. I welcome your comments. I'd love to have you let me know how you balance the sound of silence in your own life. Feel free to use my contact information in this episode's description to reach out to me. If you're tuned in via YouTube, leave me a comment. I'd love it and greatly appreciate it if you post a review in the show info on Apple or Spotify. And let me know what you'd like to discuss in future episodes. Until next time, and as always, I am wishing you well.